All right, hello everybody. Um, I got some good recommendations and advice from a good friend of mine on YouTube, tarot reader or Seldom Dreams, friend Avery. He suggested that I do a series, a couple videos maybe, of the terminology that I use in the series. I've been thinking about how to structure this. Uh, I don't want to just go to the vocabulary. It's in the middle of the first book, or the vocabulary is in the fourth book, and just start reading. There's a cosmogony that I obtained by spirit, through spirit, management, meta, source, creation. And I like to discuss something that I'm working on right now. It started with book 5. It's ongoing. And it has to do with the 4 fundamental forces, emanations that produce the manifest matrix creation. Um, but let's start with right now. Let's start with some basic definitions here. Now, in the angelic language, celestial language, the nickname, it's been nicknamed, it's almost become its, legal term or legal name, Enochian. D never used that name for the language, angelic, celestial, so on. But one of the names, one of the principal names is, it's spelled Zidoe, Zidoe. And that means God's language. And that means creation language, emanation language, language of the fundamental forces that produce our sentience, of the creator's sentience, and the manifest matrix dreamscape construct that we perceive, that we exist, experience. Thoth the Atlantean, he referred to incarnation into the 3 pillars, into the dreamscape. He referred to it as the night, darkness that is cut you off from omniscient, omnipotent knowledge. You're inside a linear time. You think this is all you are. You don't remember your past lives or creation or how it is. The veil separates you from that. In the first book, chapter Enochian Genesis, I'm going to read just the very first part of that. Enochian Genesis, chapter 2 here. In the beginning, the All, the first flame of source, achieved a zenith of manifestation. Yet man's understanding fails to grasp what has been made, in spite of the meticulous measurements and interpretations the world hath contrived. Vue done il parte, the first flame. Vue done il parte, the uncreated, is best described as energy that is sentient, an immortal being that exists in an undefinable location encompassed by something akin to unimaginable chaos. Vue done il parte, the first flame responsible for the genesis of the cosmos, by dividing the living light, the very substance of its being, an autogenous division within the depths of the first flame itself. This created a large number of scions, offspring that could be described as beings of sentient energy that are akin to fractals. They were and are self-similar, individuals of living energy like that of the first flame. The act of making these fractal forms did not reduce Vue done il parte by any measure, because it was accomplished within the one source, all that is the first flame. So in no way could Vue done il parte have been reduced. A preternatural existence beyond what man understands to be possible. The progeny it had created were made in its own image, fractals of the principal elements of the first flame, a host of immortals existing inside the great flame, sharing its likeness, and by virtue of the division bestowed to them uniqueness. These are the second flame, Vue Vive Io Parte. There's a quote from Jesus here. We have come from the light. The place where the light has come into being by itself, has established itself, and has appeared in their image. And Thoth, the Atlantean, witch king of Atlantis, but child of the infinite cosmic light, know ye not, O man, of your heritage? Know ye not ye are truly the light, son of the great sun? When ye gain wisdom, truly aware of your kinship with light. These fractal forms, self-similar images of the one flame, shared in what was known and unknowable, of what would become and what would not be. So it was, among one another, a multitude of voices in the heart of Vue Done Io Parte. Vue Vive Io Parte, the second flame, the scions created by the first flame, would make use of the living energy aspects in their being, as they are spawn of Vue Done Io Parte. The living energy. Consider for a moment the potential for manipulating consciousness, and consciousness is the principal constituent aspect of a sentient being. That's the opening chapter. After the creation of the second flame, then the third flame was created. I've described the third flame crudely as, imagine a lake, and that lake is full of sentient consciousness, energy consciousness, Inole Rukulse, energy consciousness. You dip a thimble out, incarnate a human, they live, they love, they die. The thimble goes back into the lake. Imagine if someone were coming to beyond the creation to Ove, which is the angelic term for heaven, or that which is outside the true abode, the pantheon of flame, and requested, give me back that thimble of sentience. You could only tell them, I can give you a thimble. Dip a thimble out. I can't give you that thimble back. And they say they want that thimble back. They want that sentience back. You pour a thimble into the lake, you're not ever going to be able to get that one back. You can get a thimble back, but you're not going to get that one back ever. It's a collective lake, if you will. The second flames being bestowed uniqueness by the division into fractal forms, smaller reflections of the greater whole. The ability to trace back through the lives they've lived, incarnated in, that is possible. That's one of the distinguishing characteristics between the second flame and the third flame. The energy of the Enochian Rukulse, the sentient force of awareness that comprise the elements of the Akine, the elements of the soul. There are 10 elements of the soul. They're like, some people may take, can have contention with this, but they're like the 10 Sephiroth. And so the second, it's the same energy of sentient force awareness that the fractal forms possess to perceive within the dreamscape matrix. That the collective lake, the collective whole, it's not a lake, but just use that as a mental construct, comparative. It's the same as the energy of the third flame. Now, the fifth book, and what I was wanting to mention briefly, has to do with the four fundamental forces. There are four fundamental forces the Creator possesses, and those fundamental forces are Uze, Ise, Ute, and Ave. The four great forces. Now, the Creator, who has several names, El is first of first, Iade is order of orders, Zamran is thus you power life, Zotus Vize means fundamental formulation of sentient force, Buedoni Oparte, the first flame, Alpha, Zivitol, means creator in the angelic language. Zivitole, Zivitole, Zivitol, Zivitole. The first flame emanates the first, third, and fourth, Uze, Ute, and Ave. Embedded in that is geometric symmetries, codified data, to produce the objective reality that we perceive as the cosmos. Now, the second flame and the third flame are bestowed the second, third, and fourth of those four fundamental forces, Ise, Ute, and Ame. Through these emanations of the three fundamental forces that they possess and emanate, inside there are the 10 elements to produce the soul, which is, it produces upon a merger within the three pillars. There are three pillars. There's 7 densities of each pillar. The 7 chakras, the 7 bands of the energy body, and the 7 densities of dimension of each pillar. These are the same things, but they are abstract concepts of the same thing because they're ephemeral. They produce the form avatar upon merger with the divine emanations of the generation energy, the Rehikile Nole, that is emanated by the first plane, using the three of the four forces, Uze, Ute, and Ave. So the three forces used by the second flame and third flames for consciousness perception intercept the emanations that the Alpha, Zivitole, the creator, emanate of the three fundamental forces that it emanates. Upon their intercept, the codified symmetries are in a sense deciphered for the perceptive appetite of the energy consciousness. And behold, the divine genesis, the cosmos, is before you, and you are within it. Now, something very interesting about these four fundamental forces, when they are together as the Alpha, Zamron, the first flame, possesses all four, just doesn't emanate the second one. In the generation energy, it withholds that. But the presence of the four together, you have the 42 great powers present. Now, when the first flame emanates generation energy, the Rehikile Enole, and it intercepts the Enole Repulse on the second and third flames. On that intercept, this construct is assembled and perceived. The dreamer and the dreamed. And the four forces are again together. 3 provided by the first flame contains the first, third, and fourth, and the second, third flame, they emanate the second, third, and fourth. So they're all four together in the Genesis creation and the establishment of the 3 pillars. The 42 great powers are present. This is the reason why 42 is the most significant number in all of creation. This is why the one who is 666 of the first tier, the leader of the Teruze, the Ta'e de Teruze, is marked by the number 42. Christians think that the mark of the beast is something that's going to be put on people. No. The mark of the beast is a number that keeps reoccurring in the life and the next life, and the next life, and all the incarnations of the one who is 666, the first tier. The one who will be the Gebethal, king of princes, during the harvest. The Law of One talks about the end of the fourth age, which we're quickly approaching. The reason for this is because the first flame, after the war in heaven, as the Bible describes it, which was a workplace dispute with management and so on and so forth. In a sense, the first avatars ever created were of the right pillar, the angelic abode, the angelic pillar, higher density pillar, and that form of Evotia, or angel, Elohim, angels, was called the Rukai. Rukai, the Rukai. There was an issue with the form avatars because the form did not have a lot of restraint on the consciousness of those angels, and they could do a whole lot in that right pillar, those 7 densities or dimensions of the right pillar. And so another form avatar of Evotia was created. And the first incarnate avatar angels, the Urukai, were told to relinquish their form, because angels can do that. Just let go of shadow upon shadow. The angelic form is made. We're flesh. Sexual reproduction, linear time. The middle pillar is quite different, quite unique. There was a disagreement about relinquishing those forms to take a substandard form. So enmity was found between the Rukai and management. And so the other form, the second form of Evotia, kept insisting. And the Rukai just got tired of hearing it. And just began a xenocidal slaughter of the other angels. Of course, they would reincarnate back into the form. They would come back in. It would respawn in a sense, since the right pillar doesn't have linear time like the middle pillar does. It's different. I won't go into the whole story, but after this was concluded, the first flame in us, this is a way of describing it, said 666 of the first tier, come, I want to show you something. Well, this is a way of describing it. You didn't have to travel anywhere because it's all happening. This is all happening essentially in the Pantheon of Flame. And since the Rukai were no longer in their form avatars in the right pillar, they kind of, in a sense, back to the Pantheon of Flame, Ove. And he said, I want to show you something. None of the other fractal scion offspring of the second plane, or any incarnate form of any form of the third plane, none of these had ever seen what creator Zivitole was going to show this one. What he showed him, because this one incarnates as a male. 60% incarnate of the second flames are female, and 30% are male. Every time they incarnate, male, 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 female, female, female. It doesn't switch. And what he showed this one, 666, the first tier, was what surrounds the Pantheon of Flame, what the first flame had inverted out of. So out of chaos, inverted order of thought, I am. That's the great I am. The first, the Alpha. So he showed him what he inverted out of. Now, it is so it's so an obtuse angle of existence to order that without the size of the first flame, Buedonial partake, this scion fractal offspring could not withstand this. It's like antimatter and matter coming together. It's not good. So the scion's energy, the very energy of that fractal scion, would begin to shred apart. But the first flame held it together because it has all four forces. It held the 666 of the first tier together. But by doing that, it imprinted upon it. It's called an essence or signature. Three things: aspect, energy, and power. The signature, the presence of all four forces together. So in a sense, that 42, the 42 great powers, this was imprinted upon this one. So this one incarnates in the middle pillar as a man, again and again. In the Bible it says that God, in the book of Job, God says, Sanctum Saze, 666 of the first tier. What are you doing? What have you been up to? And the answer is walking to and fro upon the earth, up and down in it. He was being literal. He'd incarnated into the middle pillar, where we are. Have you considered my servant Job? It wasn't a request. It's like a general asking a lieutenant, have you considered a flanking maneuver? And the lieutenant salutes and goes off and does a flanking maneuver. It wasn't a request or a question. It was a, hey, idiot. But in this sense, it wasn't a idiot. It was just, have you considered my servant Job? Which means, consider my servant Job. Do anything you want short of killing him. So 666 in the first tier, Safe Sazi, he's like, okay, so Job's getting tested. Job being a second flame scion, like 666, but lower down in the tiers. And he did exactly as he was told. He did everything but killing him to the letter, dutifully. I talk about rebels, devil, bad, all this garbage. But it doesn't sound very rebellious. It sounds very loyal and very dutiful. And this one, having this aspect, energy, and power imprinted upon its fractal being, which is an essence and a signature of the presence of the 42, incarnate in the creation where the 42 great powers are, because the four forces are together there in the establishment of the three pillars. There is a special connection relationship between this incarnate one of the second plane and creation. And in the Holy Kabbalah, it talks about the Shekinah. Well, this is what it's talking about. So the beast doesn't put a mark on people. It puts, in a sense, a Shekinah seal of honor upon the ones that are of frequency high enough to ascend into the next modality, which is the ones who are of alignment, positive alignment of over 57% in law 1, or of a negative alignment over 95%, and can go on to the next density of consciousness. Experience the earth. That's the earth, but it's a different earth. The ones that aren't are harvested, and they end up on another place like earth that is the same as the one they were on, and they have to keep at the challenges and overcome the obstacles and get there where they can move on up to the density and so on. The Shekinah seal of honor is on the ones who are worthy of going on to the higher density. Ascension. A lot of words for that. The one who is 666 of the first tier, Safe Sazi. Safe Sazi means speaks in multiple voices. Now, The devil is a term that means faithful accuser. The Satan is a term that means the rightful adversary. And the Lucifer is the bringer of the divine clarity and judgment. These aren't named, they're terms. Milkman, postman, clerk, these are terms. That's not the name of it. Now, through these incarnations, the Shekinah relationship between what this one was imprinted with and the presence of the four horses in the creation, this hasn't been activated in a sense, because the full Merkaba activation occurs upon the death and resurrection of this one. This is the one that is slain the foundation and rises, the dying God and the resurrecting God. This is the one who is the Gebethah, King of Princes. This is the one who incarnated as Solomon and built the first temple, and incarnated again later as Nebuchadnezzar and destroyed the first temple. This is the one who incarnated and wrote the Art of War, another name for 666, the first tier. And as John D. started the translations for the angelic language, and is alive now to fulfill the task dutifully, as it always is, because Hollywood has all these movies and the Christians have all these ideas. Imagine an old soldier that's dutifully served the Creator, that's been scapegoated for a few thousand years for every bad thing that's happened to everybody, turned into a Hollywood, some kind of magical supernatural dictator, whatever. They make all kinds of devil shows and devil movies. They're garbage. In the Bible, it says that when people see and know the one who is incarnate as it, they'll say, really? This is the one? It doesn't mean that something's wrong with him. It just means that they're like, but he's like us. He's a person. They just are underestimating and downplaying their own supernatural existence, because your consciousness is of the divine emanation and where you're at. Safe Size 666 says, you are not what you think you are, and where you think you are not. I'm going to wrap this video up, and I'm going to do another one. I'm going to meditate for a while. But I'll leave you with this. If anybody is ever curious about what's the religion of the devil, the Satan, the Lucifer, the beast, what's the religion? What's his religion if he had one? He has one. And a lot of people know it. And this is it. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 this life is but a dream. That's the religion. Because believing in that, believing in the truth of the Genesis and the Creator and the creation and everything else. It's all right there. Right in front of everybody's face. A child's little song. Next video, I might try to get into some of the emerald tablets. Because one of the first and most famous incarnations of 666, the first tier, was Thoth, the Atlantean, Lord of all magic, the Witch King of Atlantis. 42 books of the emerald tablets. 42 years Solomon ruled the Israelite kingdom. 42 years Nebuchadnezzar ruled the Babylonian kingdom. 42 odes to Solomon. 42, the ultimate answer to life, the universe, and everything. Hitchhiker's Guide, Wandering Traveler, Beast incarnate. If you've watched this far, namaste. Have a great day. Thank you.